today.
Today.
Let's talk about today.
If you're at a national state level, you have to run non-sales, wholesale.
Is 9,000.
The only mistake I made, I didn't put it right in the registration booth with the
Just this ever-evolving story.
Welcome back to another great episode of Let's Grow Pulling. Tonight we've got a pretty big show lined out. Sitting here with us is Travis Slawbaugh. We're going to get to him in a second because we're going to talk some Rockwell, Iowa here soon. But running through the list, 7:30 tonight, we're kicking it right off with Rockwell, Iowa, talking about the 5 big sessions that are coming up over there, the 31st, 1st, and 2nd of August. And then right when 8 o'clock rolls around, transitioning it right into Outlaw with Mercer, Missouri, bringing on Michael Idle and the promoters from Mercer to talk about their event that they're getting ready to put on. And then around the 8:30 time, we'll pick Michael's brain over some McLouth and Mound City, some other big outlaw events coming up. So let's just jump right into it. Travis, how's it going?
Awesome. Doing good. Just getting ready. We actually just did a little maintenance on the tractor and whatever there, and we really didn't have much to do since we got rained out before recovery this year. So we're going to see what we can come up with and be ready to go to Rockwell. It's a bummer that we got rained out, but I'll tell you what, it's also a relief you don't have to come in wrench to get ready to go to our Rockwell's our hometown pull, and so we do our best to try to get there and pull.
So you guys are pulling, I believe, Thursday night and Friday night.
We should be Friday night, Saturday night.
That's right.
Yep.
I'm getting my days confused.
Oh, yeah.
Friday night, Saturday night.
Yep.
And so that's good. You get out of the heat and you get into some of the better weather that we have here in the Midwest, even though it's not great, but.
Well, and it's been terrible for all those that haven't. I mean, there's a major weather alert here right now. I think we're going to have a little bit of heat tomorrow. Here Tuesday, we're going to be in the 90s. I think Wednesday, we're going to be down at 85. And they're talking Thursday, Friday, Saturday, highs 79, lows in the 50s. So wow. You're not going to find a better event here in, central Iowa. I think they got 12, 13. They got all NTPA classes running. So it's going to be great in good weather. So it sounds like Wednesday night there's a shot of rain. And then Thursday, Friday, Saturday, it looks like 0 rain. So the old corn sweat in Iowa has been going. Great for the farmers. I know we can all complain, but when farmers make money, everybody makes money in Iowa.
Yep. So I know you mentioned it a little bit to me beforehand, but talk about it. This is, so to speak, your hometown pull. How's this event kind of developed over the years? What has been your history with it, and how long have you been going to Rockwell for?
So I've been there, every year with the diesel super that I've owned the diesel super. I actually was there a year or two before I had my super farm. So I'm going to guess, I'd have to sit down to get it exact, but I'm going to guess we were 14, 15 years into this. Back when it was a regional pull is when I had my super farm there. And, just going in, great facility. What's so fun about Rockwell, Iowa for me is to have my 15 years of experience there. But when I look back and I can look at all the changes that the Rockwell Lions Club has made, and it's little stuff that some people will never notice, but the cement under the bleachers on both sides, the two tracks got that square around. Last year they put the pavilion down there, and they're renting that out. It's the pit area. I remember the year it rained so much there on, I don't remember what night it was, Thursday night, Friday night. I think it was Friday night it rained, and Saturday morning all you heard was beepers because they had like, I want to say 40 dump truck loads of rock being delivered. There's little stuff like that just, it is so neat to watch that pole grow, and grow from the region to a Grand National pole with 5 or 6 classes to 8, 10 classes to the Rockwell Lions Club to go, we're having them all. We're having them all. We're going, we're going to, I don't want to say compete with Bowling Green, but we want to be as good as Bowling Green.
Yep.
We want to be originally they were the July. We want to be a July Bowling Green. They bought X amount of acres to the north of them, and got the camping sites. And they're not trying to compete with Bowling Green and be a better camping facility. They just want to be as good or similar. And what do we all want? We want to give a good experience to all the fans. That's what we need.
Yep. You got to look at it fans first, but also got to tailor it so that your pullers are happy too.
Yep. And they do a great job. I remember the first couple of years, or for all years past, I mean, they get all the local guys with their lawnmowers and lawn sweepers out there, and I think they swept like a dump truck load of lawn sweepings out of the pit area, and it was impressive. We get up there and they'd mowed the grass and swept. You don't get all that grass tracked in your toter home and your hauler and all of that. So them are the little things that we notice, the little things pullers notice. So and Tim and the group up there, Bill and all of them, Caleb, I just get to know them over the years. There's the other guy. I think he's the ringleader, and I'm terrible with names, but he's always like, what can we do for you next year? What can we do? And we'll bounce ideas off of them. And some of them are for the pullers, and some of them are for the fans. And so a lot of great things.
We just saw your run there from last year. A couple of people might have caught it. Walk us through that run while it's fresh in our mind there.
It's just, I seen that with 364. You'd asked me how far I went before I seen that. I'd have said never, couldn't tell you for sure. But, we've had great success down there. Just picking a good spot. We've won some events down there. That class is tough. And that track is tough. The last couple of years, it's just been hotter than blazes. And that's probably one of the biggest challenges that Rockwell has, is getting enough water in that thing deep. Of course, then, when you go to a daytime pole at noon, and it's 90 degrees out, the wind's blowing, and, that water, just getting that water down in there, and so you can keep a consistent track. If I got to say there's one struggle that Rockwell's having, and that's it. But when we look at the big picture, Bowling Green wasn't perfect on year 15 either. I just visited with them guys there this weekend out at Fort Recovery, and they're on year 59 and going into 60, and it's just amazing the changes that they have went through. And we were just sitting there having a conversation of what changes they've seen, what they've made, and how things have changed and developed, and some good, some bad, but certainly make a few mistakes on the way. But I really believe that, all pulling events are going in the right direction. Just takes a little time.
Yep. How long has Rockwell been going on for? I know you mentioned you've been pulling at it for 15 some years, but
if I had to guess, and we get Tim on here, we'll narrow that down there. But I'm thinking on that 15 to 18 years, maybe no longer than 20, because I'll give them boys their due. They did not, when they had their region hooks, it must have went good for them. And they turned around and they kept the ball rolling. They never got out and just flatlined with, okay, we got a region pole. I think they won the Region Pole of the Year award. I know they won the Grand National Pole of the Year award. And they do so much for the community. I know before the guys have told me, we just put a new swimming pool in our facility here in Marengo, Iowa, and I actually tailored that off of a little bit because they said, Marengo, Iowa, you can't afford a pool. You can't have a nice aquatic center like that. You're not big enough. They gave me a million excuses. And one of my mottos when I'm on the city council is don't tell me what I can't do. Let's listen to what we can do. And, I said, you take a town like Rockwell, Iowa. I know it's smaller, and I don't know the exact number. I'm going to say 800 to 1,200 people. And they got an aquatic center. So I was asking the guys down there at Rockwell, I said, how? And they're like, well, we ponied up, and I wish Tim will be on here. We'll get that out. But I want to say they ponied up an extreme amount of money for every year for 20 years to help with the payment on that bond issue. And I think he told me the other day I was elbowing about some other improvement that I thought would be cool at Rockwell. It isn't like I got any say at all, but he's like, just give me a couple more years. I'll have my swimming pool paid for. I'll give them. But that's what's awesome about the event is they give back to that community. And, them Lions Club there and all the 4-H clubs, the high school clubs, and all of that stuff that, have their food booths and have all of that to put on this event. They're all making a little money that, is all going back into the community. So, and like I said, since it's kind of local, I probably know a little bit more than the average person up there, but it's just, it's a neat deal. It's a cool deal to watch happen.
Yeah, that's always great to hear, the community giving back to the community and helping this event grow. And that's really what this event's gone through. This event probably didn't start out with these huge grandstands and all this. And it's just grown into this event where it's like, okay, we're going to go all in and we're going to get every single class that we can. And
And that was awesome, and when they did that, because like I said, they never had every class, and they're like, finally they're just like, we're throwing it all in. We're going all in on this, and we want every class. And, you got Toma that's got, dang near to every class that puts a great poll on at the end of June. These guys are in July, even though it's July 1st to August, that's irrelevant. We got Bowling Green that puts an awesome show on it. So when you look at it from NTPA's perspective, we've got that premier spot that has every class once a month for those polling fans. And I truly believe you can classify the Rockwell experience right up there with your Toma, Bowling Green. I don't want to pit anybody against each other. I think they're all three awesome events. And I think the fans, show that event. So, been very receptive to, things. And from the NTPA's perspective, we're always trying to be a little bit better. We're trying to work on going to the promoters now and saying, this is something we can bring you. An example of that is Charles Pooch. NTPA got partnered up with Charles and said, Charles, we want you to be our help. We don't want to be the announcer. We don't want to take that away from the group that you have, but we want you to bring, if you follow the circuit all year long, they're going to know the ins and the outs. They know what Travis Schlabaugh screwed up down at Chapel Hill, Tennessee on Saturday night. So that brings a little bit more excitement across the microphone on, Rockwell night when we're sitting around waiting for me to get hooked to the sled and different things like that. So, we're all trying things from the NTPA perspective. We tried some different stuff down at Chapel Hill, and you actually, if you guys watched Brandenburg last weekend, where we grabbed a telehandler and started backing some tractors in. We're trying to speed that show up a little bit, and is that more effective, more efficient? I think the verdict is still out. I think Brandenburg, we feel it helped because it's a little bit unique track. We did it down Chapel Hill. I can't say yep or no. From a driver's perspective, I didn't mind it. It takes one more thing out of the equation. They're putting you in there. They back you in. You already got your neck on your neck brace on it. I don't know why. I just creature habit. I got used to. I hate putting that thing on, so it's the last thing you do, But like Marvin said, why I'm backing you in, get that neck brace on, So the second that I set you down, literally you got your hand on the shifter and you're ready to go. As soon as my starting flagman says pull ahead, tighten the chain, you're ready. So we weren't. So if that saves, it's hard to believe because people will say, well, I don't know. How's that save? That may save 20, 30 seconds. Well, if we save 30 seconds, 60 times, we save 30 minutes. Yeah. So that whole concept of little things. I don't know that we'll do that at Rockwell. I haven't visited with Marvin about that or anything like that. We may not, but just little things like that I think everybody's partnering together. How can we put a better show on for the fans? And I had a gentleman out of the sled one day tell me, he said, he's the producer and we're the actors. We're here to put a movie on.
Yep.
And, there's a lot of truth to that. We always thought we were the heroes being the tractor drivers, but we're really not. That sled operator's that dang important to put a good show on. So it keeps us going and doing great.
I think you mentioned the movie director and the producer and all that. I think a lot of it is the pullers don't recognize that you are the show. You're the main actor in this whole deal. Everyone's got their eyes on you. So you need to be on your game to make it that fans first experience and do everything you can to just make sure that a fan has a good time at this event.
Yeah. So, yeah. And with the open pits and all of that stuff, that's also, super cool and super awesome on that part of it. But you're exactly right. What can we do to keep that level of excitement up nonstop, nonstop. So I haven't sat down and watched it, but our friends, the Bladegraves, went across the pond, over to the Netherlands.
Yep.
And Steve was telling me there that he said, man, them fans, they stood for 6 hours.
Yeah.
And he said, there's fireworks going off. There's music blaring. There's 7 TVs going. There's three tracks wide. He said, man, there's just something going on at all times. And I'm not saying, it's cool, but that all takes different equations, and maybe they don't have quite I was giving the Bowling Green guys a hard time. I said, that's what we need. We need to mount like 3-inch salutes or 3-inch fireworks on the big sled, so that when puller goes over 350 foot, we can activate that firework and shoot fireworks off the sled. Well, it sounds cool, but there's really probably a lot of fire marshal issues, reasons that we're probably not going to do that. But it was a cool thought. We got to have great ideas, just not practical, So,
yeah.
But yeah. So, but it's interesting, the things we can all work on, but it's even little things like Bowling Green where they do the flyover. It's what an amazing event that 5 years ago, nobody would have thought that, that the Air Force or whatever would come around there and do a flyover, over Bowling Green. But it's cool. It's really cool.
Looking at the comments here, we have a couple questions for you.
Mm-hmm.
You may know this. Do they let you save a seat in the grandstands between sessions? How's all that work?
I hate to answer that because I'm not 100% sure. I know that there is people that sometimes will go up there and put tape their blanket down and, kind of save their seats between shows. I don't know if you can save them from the noon show to the night show. They might make you take that back out and clean the stands up and then come back in. But I know some people do it. That'd be a better question of, right, when you first walk in, ask somebody at the ticket booth there or whatever. So I don't know that answer for certainty.
And then do you know if the Warpath is pulling at Rockwell?
Ooh, no, I'm out on that one.
Yeah.
I just lost his name. He does all Carlton. He does all of Mac Daddy's work. And, I think some of that depends sometimes on how much breakage, how much work they've had to get their tractors back together. And so I have not heard for 100% certainty whether Carlton's a yes or a no.
Let's talk some fan stuff with the way that the tickets are set up. How do you get into the event and stuff like that?
So, if you ever get Rockwell, kind of keep approach once you find and it's not hard to find the pole. All the polar entrance stuff is off the west side of the fairgrounds, or what I would call your main highway that runs north and south. If you follow that, just go a little bit to the south side of the track, you'll come right by you can see the finish line of the track. And then at that point, you'll see the entry to the pit, or not the pit, the fan parking, and all of that stuff is kind of on what I call the southeast corner of the facility. And that's where we're going to want all the fans to go through. Once you go through that area, you can, meander your way back through, follow the track down there, and then you can get out into the pits and walk around. There's no special armband that you need or anything like that, but we would rather have you come through that corner of the facility rather than come in from the pit entrance, because that's mainly designated for all of the polars. So there's a lot more semi traffic and polar traffic and all of that coming through there. Plus,
Yep.
the ticket part of that is still handled at the other corner.
Yeah. And for the fans too, I was just reading through some stuff. There was breakfast Friday morning and Saturday morning, I believe I saw, from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. free will donation.
Yep. And they always do an amazing job down there. I don't know which one of the organizations does that, but they always have a good breakfast down there for polars, fans, anybody's in the area. Campgrounds, I think they've done a real good job on their campgrounds. So they're gaining every year. I think they're all primitive campgrounds, no electricity, no running water or sewer, but they got a nice place, and they're actually what I call just north of the pit parking. So them guys, they're walking right through the pits to get to their bleacher seats and all of that part of that. Yep.
And then something for the kids Saturday morning, you got a pedal pull for them.
Yep.
So
that's been very popular over the years and whatever, and just kind of got bigger and bigger. So just trying to give that fan experience, hopefully you bring the family, or, dad brings a couple of the boys down there and they really enjoy it. And like, what are we going to do in the morning? We can go there. I think, like I said, don't quote me on the time, but I want to say 9-10 o'clock, and
9 a.m.
Yeah, participate in that. Probably going to take an hour and a half, whatever. And then you can go wander around the pits, because them vehicles that are pulling on the noon session, they're going to be rolling out of the trailer there. They're going to start them up and watch them start them, warm them up, fire them up. Great picture right there on the screen of Brad Benedict's there, and just to walk around and look at them Unlimiteds and how they're all put together is an impressive piece. So, and to the fans, don't be afraid to ask a question. I mean, the drivers, we like that. We'll do our best to answer a question. I mean, they might be in the middle of something, and they're in deep and in thought process, but a lot of times they'll take a little time and explain to anything, answer any questions you have.
And that's something I always look for whenever I'm out pulling is, say there's a fan that walks up and there's some kids just looking around tractors. You toss them up in the seat, let the parents get a picture. That always creates a core memory for the kids.
Yep. They'll looking around mine. I'm like, here, buddy, let me give you up there. You ain't going to hurt nothing up there. Shut switches off and get them up there. I mean, there is time. They're getting ready to go to the scale and everything. It's all business, but as a parent, you guys can tell that, but a lot of them will take a little time and just it's a neat experience. And we need the exposure, for the sport of it. We want to promote it. We want them people to enjoy it, come back, and we all got our our special fans. I had a fan out on the East Coast that he'll message me, make sure we're coming, and come see us at different events. And just at Chapel Hill, he stopped by the trailer there last couple of weeks ago and stopped and said hi. And I've remembered him for 6, 8, 10 years when he's a little kid, so he's growing up on me now.
Yeah. So everyone seems to have that curse of their hometown hook. How has that affected you? I mean, you've done really well over the years at Rockwell, so it almost seems like it's the opposite. Is Rockwell one of your better luck places on the circuit that you seem to find your gains there? Or?
Yeah, we've had good luck at Rockwell. I don't know why that is. We we've had good luck, and we've had a lot of luck more than skill on the whole circuit, on the whole season, in 10 years. But we've been fortunate. We've had some good runs there. And, in our class, it's survivability more than it's luck is a huge part of survivability. And, we just try to survive and keep everything together. And so, and Rockwell's been good to me. I mean, it's just a good place, and we've always enjoyed it. We've had a good time, and, keep going up there.
So looking past all of the years, what has been, so to speak, your favorite year that you've competed there, or a year that just sticks out to you more than others?
I don't know that I could pick out a date and tell you, because I don't really get hung up on which year we did this. I'm pretty sure there was 4 or 5 years ago, we've swept that like 2 years in a row. And it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun there, and it's hard. I mean, that we did that Grand National 2 years in a row. We won that. Man, oh man, is that third one's a hard one to get. And, we haven't been very successful at that third one there. So, but we're trying. We just keep going, and survival of the fittest is some of our biggest issues, and then our entire class. But I'm happy to say we've gained some tractors this year, and we've had some good numbers. I thought we were going to be a little bit down. We were a little down in the diesel super class there last weekend, but we didn't get the pole. But we still had some pretty decent numbers, going into Fort Recovery. So we were going to be able to put a pretty respectable show on for them guys. And
I think we're going to see some good numbers all the way around. Looking at some of the class numbers for Fort Recovery, like for the minis, there was 30, almost 35 minis there, I believe.
Yeah, that minis just keep coming out of the woodwork and coming out of the woodwork. And
yeah,
we, I get to joking around with people and whatever. And I said, maybe what we ought to do is when we run the minis, we got that many of them, we'll put 2 mini sleds, and we'll run 2 of them on one track, and we'll just run another class on the other. So we'll have like 3 tracks going in minis. They're gonna learn to share a little bit. We're gonna narrow their track up or something.
Yeah.
But, so yeah, we were just having fun, coming up with some ideas, which didn't really mean nothing because we're not changing anything. But
yeah,
it's just. But there's a pile of minis, and that's great to see for the whole polling circuit of all kinds, outlaws, PPL, NTPA. It's great that we're gaining, numbers. Like I said, our diesel super class is gaining some numbers. I think, we gained 3 or 4 tractors this year, and 5, and if we gain it on an average of 3, that's huge. And so we'll take every one we can possibly get, and keep them going in that direction.
Yeah. That's always great to hear that classes are growing, and that shows that the sport's heading in truly a good direction.
Right.
So,
and Dan, what time Saturday morning the gates open? What'd you say? The pedal pole's at 9 o'clock. So
pedal pole's at 9.
Yeah, I can't believe. And I don't know that they have a open gate, because, like you said, we've got breakfast there from 8 to 10 or whatever. So I'm going to say they'll be open at 8 o'clock in the morning to go in there and go that way. So, but they're usually pretty accommodating. The only thing that the wild card this year, so our polling group that we always go with, and used to be our Thursday afternoon or ritual there was we go down to Legion Hall in Rockwell. We always love to go support our Legions wherever we go if we can, so Rockwell's not very big. We go down the Legion. So the wild card is, I think, they tore the Legion down. We're in the process of building new ones. So we're kind of like in limbo now. I was hoping Tim would be on. He'd know whether we're going to be able to go down and have a cold sarsaparilla down at the Legion and support the Legion or not. So we'll see what we can come up with on that program.
Yep.
And hopefully the Legion's open for us.
That's always great to hear. That ritual, it helps make those superstitions a little bit easier with doing it all.
Yep. No, we keep them all going and keep everything. We always have a good time with that. And we usually, our class, it's me and Burge and them guys, the lock and load team, we don't have pull till Friday, so we don't have to be back right away on Thursday. So But we make it back for the show, but it's fun. We've been down to the golf course, and I think they give the pullers down there free access for their kids to the aquatic center. That's another thing that if you're in the area, I mean, you can run down on a Friday afternoon or between sessions and, go. They got a beautiful aquatic center there in town. Got a golf course. You can go probably pound that little white ball around 9 holes. I mean, there's a lot you can do there. So, a bunch in the area. Mason City's only 7 miles away, and so keeps you going.
Yeah, that's just a lot going on there. Water, golf, tractor pulling, everything. So no shortage of entertainment that's going to be happening over these next 3 days coming up this weekend. 31st of August or 31st of July, 1st and 2nd of August, 5 sessions. Friday and Saturday, day and night session, 12 and 6 o'clock both days, starting at 6 on Thursday. Any final thoughts that you want to round this out with?
No, I think the biggest surprise to everybody is if you lived, anywhere in the Midwest lately, I mean, the heat has been just atrocious. And I think the best solution right here is the weather just sounds like it's amazing. So I think, if you're anywhere around and you love tractor pulling, want to learn about tractor pulling, is get out there to Rockwell, Iowa, and you're going to see some great tractors out there. There we go. Legion's going to have a free will donation lunch on Thursday. So that probably makes my wife's day. We got that question answered out of that whole deal. So, but no, for all you fans out there, it's going to be good. And if there's something you need, find one of them Rockwell Lions members. Ask them. They are accommodating. We're here to do anything possibly that we can for you.
Yeah.
Put on just help out the whole program.
Yeah. That's great. And it's going to be a great event. So, Travis, thank you for coming on, spending a little bit of time with us.
Yep.
And
guys.
Best of luck to you this weekend in your hometown. And we'll be rooting for you.
All right. Well, thank you, guys. Thanks for everything you do.
Thank you, Travis. Travis Slawbaugh, everyone. Great guy to talk to. It's going to be a great event they're having out there at Rockwell. No shortage of entertainment. So transitioning right in, we've got another big event coming up, Mercer, Missouri. We've got Michael Idle, announcer of the Outlaws. Ron Stone's trying to save his voice a little bit because they've all got a huge amount of events that they're covering during this time. And we've also got Gary Porter with us, promoter of Mercer, Missouri. So we'll bring Michael and Gary on, and we're going to talk to them a little bit about the events coming up this weekend. Michael, Gary, how's it going?
I remember this show. This is familiar.
Long time no see.
Good to come back as a guest spot. This is going to be exciting. We're going to talk outlaw pulling right here in the northern half of the Show Me State with a national champion right here, Mr. Gary Porter. Gary, how you doing tonight, sir?
Doing great. Boy, I just can't look forward to this weekend. It's going to be a great time.
This is definitely, I heard Ron Stone talk about, he pulled me out to Pierce last week, Pierce, Nebraska. And Logan, I appreciate the shout out. Yeah, Ron is definitely resting his voice right now. He's really pushed it. 43 dates with the Outlaws, 53 total sessions. That's a lot when you are the voice of the Outlaws. So he's trying to rest that up. He pulled me out with him a little bit last week, to help out with that. And he described Pierce as kind of a hidden little gem. Well, my counter to that would be on the outlaw circuit, Mercer, Missouri. Went there last year. It was on a Wednesday night. It was on a homecoming. And, I'm from Bevier, Missouri, where we have the Bevier homecoming. So we'll kind of explain to these fans what this small town homecoming business is. But it was an absolute hidden little gem. Great pull. last year, Wednesday night session, you had 3 classes. You had Pro Stock 4-wheel drives, 4-1s, and Pro Stocks, with the semis making an exhibition at the end. But boy, you doubled down this year and turned up the heat. Talk to us about switching to a Friday night and tell us what classes. You've got some premier classes coming this time around.
We did. We went all out this year. We're trying to make it better and better. I mean, we're working at it hard, and we've got the support of the community behind us, and we're really trying to make it a great show. So we went all out on getting more classes. We went to a Friday night. We thought the Wednesday night hurt us a little bit because it's church night and family night. And we think that the Friday night's more of a weekend. And we also got it put together with 2 other polls on Saturday and Sunday. So we think it's really going to pep up this weekend, and we're going to have a great time and put on a heck of a show. We had the classes we have is the 2-wheel drives. Everybody loves the 2-wheel drive trucks. Yep. I mean, everybody loves watching that. And then we're going to have the diesel 3.0s. I mean, everybody likes seeing smoke, so that's always a hit too. And then we got the Pro 4x4s. They had a great pull last year. The track seemed like it was perfect for them. And they was charging down the track. And I mean, they had some speed up. And they was moving. When they went by 150 to 200 feet, they was flying. And I thought it was really a great pull. And it seemed like all the 4-wheel drive people really liked it. And we got the Pro Stock tractors. I just talked to a few of my friends today, and they're going to be coming down. They haven't signed up yet, but they're going to be coming down and signing up. And so I'm really looking forward to getting some of my friends down here and getting to show them northern Missouri. And then we got the Pro Stock semis. Last year, I was telling them, the announcer, I says, whatever you do, don't let the Pro Stock semis go into the cornfield at the end of the track. And I kept telling them that, and it was so fun because I think it was the second or third semi that went down through there, went right into the cornfield. I says, oh man, and it was awesome. The crowd went nuts when the front of the semi went into the cornfield. Everybody went crazy, and it was so fun.
Yeah, the semis joined us just on an exhibition class last year. Brent Roberts really doing everything he can to grow that class. And the way I understood it, he either reached out to you or you reached out to him and was kind of like, hey, can I just come and put on a show for the fans? But this year, it's going to be a points hook. So it looks like the 4-1s are going to go elsewhere. You don't have the 4-1s coming in this year. And I think that might have been a regional hook last year anyway. But you're adding the super modified 2-wheel drive trucks. The Outlaw super modified 2-wheel drives are as good as it gets in the country. The diesel 3.0s, northern Missouri, that's the heart of their territory. Bringing back the Pro Stock 4-wheel drives, their numbers have been amazing this year. I mean, they've been hitting 23 per show. Your class with the Pro Stocks and the Pro Stock semis are going to hook for points. Will this be the first time you've had the old gangrene out on the circuit this year?
Oh, this is horrible. The curse of your hometown pull is like, no. I got the pull is 3 miles from my house. And I don't have a motor yet. I mean, I got parts scattered from Pennsylvania to Ohio to Mercer. I had some of the guys call me and says, are you going to make it this weekend? I go, man, I'd love to make it this weekend. I've been wanting to make it all through. I started Ravenna. I thought, man, I want to make Ravenna. I couldn't make Ravenna. Then I went on down the line all to Rock Valley and then to Warrensburg and Montgomery City. And I keep calling the guys. I'm saying, I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready yet. And so I was teasing some of the people in my class today. They said, will your tractor be this weekend? I said, well, my tractor can be here, but there won't be any smoke coming out of the stack.
You got to at least bring it out to the track and put it on display, put it right where everybody comes in. They want us to get a picture with that hometown vehicle, So Friday night, now this is a week later than it was last year, but is this still going to be in association with the Mercer Homecoming?
The Mercer Homecoming is the one that's putting it on, but the Mercer Homecoming actually ended on Sunday. And it's going to kind of carry over, and it's going to stretch it out into almost a 2-week for Mercer Homecoming. So the whole community is really looking forward to it. And I had towns from away from here, like Unionville is a great pull, and Princeton has a great pull, and Corden has a great pull. And Osceola had a big pull just a while back. And all those are going to come in and watch this pull because this has been the first opportunity this year to see an outlaw pull. And so they're really looking forward to it.
So I was speaking with Kurt Van Beek, the owner of the Outlaws, actually out at Ravenna, and he said, so we were talking about the Holganics Midwest Summer Sweep and some of the Holganics, sponsorship opportunities, an awesome company. And he told me that your poll last year with 3 classes on a Wednesday night was like second or third in top, representative sales or something like that for Holganic's product. And he asked me, he goes, what on earth, how did they manage that? And I said, well, it's for one, it's at a homecoming. I said, in Northern Missouri, those homecomings are a huge deal. And he kind of looked at me and goes, what are you talking about? It's not football season. We're not playing football. Explain to the people out there, it's we've got a big one in my hometown. You've got a big one in your hometown. What's this concept of a homecoming? Because it brings out the crowds.
Well, we just had a family or a class reunion, a 55-year class reunion happened this weekend. And this town supports everything this town does. I swear you could open up a hot dog stand and this town would support it on 100%. And that's what's so great about this community is everybody wants to get together, wants to have a good time and see something fun, see something different, and they'll support it all the way. And that's what this town does. And actually the whole community, like I just mentioned, everybody in Northern Missouri, Southern Iowa just loves to come see something like this. And we're really looking forward to it. And I think it's really going to be fun.
Yeah. And so like a homecoming for those, still kind of scratching their heads, it's when a town has their version of a county fair. Now, especially small towns, towns that don't have, they're not the county seat or they're not there's not a Walmart or a shopping mall. If you're from really rural small town America, especially Missouri, we have this tradition called homecomings, and that's just it. Everybody comes home for the weekend. And when you're in a town of 400 people or 800 people, anybody who's ever been related to anybody in that town comes home. And it doesn't matter what's going on. They go out and watch it. It's a huge opportunity for a tractor pull to thrive. You guys cashed in on it. You saw that last year. Well, we did this on a Wednesday. Imagine what this is going to be when we throw the big classes on a Friday. When did you start discussing that? Was it right after the Wednesday show last year? At what point did you have the vision to take this to an even bigger experience?
Well, it's really tough for a small town to put on something like this. So without our sponsors, it is just almost impossible. But Holganics has been so popular in our neighborhood. Yeah. I mean, not only do they sponsor these tractor pulls and sponsor other events that they do and put money back in where the money comes from, it's unbelievable. So these farmers are helping their yields, they're helping their soil, and they're doing all this stuff. Plus, this company gives back to you. And that's what's so amazing. Without that, these little towns like this could not have a big event like this. And so that's what makes it so special.
So let's get down to the nuts and bolts of it. We're looking at a 7:00 showtime. What time are the gates going to be open? When can fans start getting in? Where's the best way for them to access it? Walk them through everything they need to know to have a great time out there in Mercer County.
Well, one thing that makes it so nice is we're right on Highway 65, real easy to get to. We enlarged the main gate that goes into the county, the Lions Club. It's real wide, so all the toters and the trailers and long trailers can come in this gate that's real wide with no restriction on height or width or anything, and it's real nice to pull into. It's right along Highway 65. Easy to get to, nice grass sloped parking lot where we get hopefully get some dry weather and have a nice parking spot for everybody. And then there's 2 other driveways for the fans to come into right off of Highway 65. So everybody can pull right off of the main highway right between Mercer, Missouri and Lineville, Iowa. It's right on Highway 65, right in the middle, and it makes it a great place for an event like this.
Yeah, absolutely. It is very easy access, nice big open pits. You can go out, have a good time in the pits. It's an old school single track with the guardrails down it. If you want to kind of have that feeling of the glory days of pulling, this is a good spot to go out there and do it. I also want to send a shout out. You guys are not terribly far away from Chillicothe, Missouri. I would say that's within the sphere of influence. So if we have any fans, in that area, I think Chillicothe at one point had a pool of their own with a different association. But, if you're in that Chillicothe area, that's a pool of another 10,000 or so people. Make the trip on up to Mercer. You might not think to yourself that a town of that size would have something, coming and going to, but it absolutely does. This was a hidden gem. I had so much fun working at this pool last year. How far is Chillicothe away? An hour? Less than an hour?
Yeah, it's just a little less than an hour. And also, I mean, if you go the other direction, you got Indianola. It's 58 to 60 miles away from us also. Yep. We used to have a big toll at the fair up in Indianola, and we don't have one up there anymore. And so it'd be great to bring them down also.
Yeah, and it's a good – I like that too, because that's a good point. You're talking about the Pro Stock four-wheel drive trucks, and there's kind of two hotbeds for those trucks. You have that kind of central-ish Missouri area where, you see your Keith Hammonds and your Phil Chryslers and a lot of those guys, your Marty Selmans. But then that Indianola area, there's a lot right in there, kind of a meeting in the middle for those guys. You're easily – well, we can look on the app. Let's see if anybody's registered on the app so far right now. Two-wheel drive trucks. You've already got 5 of those ready to rock and roll. Diesel trucks are still coming in there. 11 four-wheel drive trucks. And this is, a week ahead of showtime. Pro Stock tractors are already rolling in there. So, yeah, you can check all that out on the Outlaw app. The Outlaw app's also going to show you guys directions to the pool. It's going to give you the address. I did not make it to the bleacher side last year. I stayed over on the announcer side, but it looked like you had a big venue over there where they were selling hamburgers or iced tea or something. What sort of concessions are going to be available for your patrons?
Yeah, they've got some food trucks coming in this year. There's going to be some food trucks and lemonade trucks and different drink trucks. It's all going to be lined up on that side there where the fans are all at, and got shade trees, and it's just really going to be nice, and we're looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a big event. I think moving it to Friday night, and I looked at the weather. Have you seen the weather? Oh, awesome. If you're going to pick weather, wouldn't you pick 75 degrees and clear sunshine?
You got to be kidding me.
Yeah. I was just looking at that. I pulled the weather up just to check it over, and I was dumbfounded because I've been chasing 90s all week around the United States. Yeah. And then pull it up and we hit 73, 75 and not a drop of rain in the forecast. It's going to be a great event out there.
It will.
Yeah, I'm looking. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's now, Gary, are you like me? You're about 3 counties over. Have you been going outside and just feeling like you're swimming, walking through the humidity? It's been crazy here lately.
Oh, man, we've been out picking sweet corn. We gave a pickup load of sweet corn to the food pantry just the other day, and that was so awesome. I haven't had a chance to do that for a while, but we picked a pickup load of sweet corn, took it down to the food pantry, and we was drenched picking that sweet corn. And we did it early in the morning, too, because the food pantry opened up at 9 o'clock. So we get down to the food pantry. We parked our truck right by the front door of the food pantry. And those people came in and got their food out of the food pantry and then came out the door and filled up 3 or 4 bags of sweet corn and took it home with them. And it was such an awesome thing to do. I mean, it was to watch the look on those people saying, well, can we have 2 ears? I go, you can have as many ears as you want. And they was filling these bags up and taking them home. And it was one of the most special feelings for me to see people do that.
That's got to be very, very fulfilling. You strike me as someone who, enjoys, making people, if you're in the pulling business, you're an entertainer. You're here to make people happy. You're not doing it because we're just rolling around in piles of cash and it's like the smartest investment move of all time. You do this, you go and be a promoter and you put on a pull because it brings joy to people. You talked about your track last year. Nice, tight, tacky track that held up through some of the daytime portions that we started with. Is there like a prep crew that you use, or do you go out there and apply your pulling knowledge? Who kind of builds and creates your track out there for you?
Well, we've been kind of doing that on our own. We've been asking for a lot of advice when Gary Zabaka would come and different people that come that really know how to build a track. And I know how to read a track and pull on a track, but when it comes to building it, it's a different deal. And I've watched so many people do it, and good people. Watch them out of Louisville and watch Dan Christiani build that track out there and maintain that track is amazing to me. How how good they do and how consistent the track is. And I love seeing the last tractor in the class have just as good a chance as the first tractor in the class. And they do it so good. And I've watched, all the great people build tracks at the Iowa State Fair and everywhere else that they build these great tracks. And I've watched them for so long that I thought, well, I think I can do that. Well, I'll tell you what, it's a lot harder than you think it is when you go to doing it. It's tough. And I tried to do the best we could. With me and the boys got together and we built a little watering trailer. The first year we used a hose out of the fire truck. And we got too much water in one spot and not enough on another. And I didn't like that because it made a bad spot in the track. And last year, we kind of invented this watering trailer that has holes on the PVC pipe along the back, and it does the exact amount of water in each position on the track as you drive down it. And it depends on how fast you drive and how much water you put on, which I don't know if we're going to put any water on all this year the way it's been raining. I mean, we get 0.8 every 2 days. It's like, wow.
Yep. We get out there with our Nebraska and Iowa buddies, and they've been asking me, how are your crops there in northern Missouri? And I'm not a farmer personally, but, you live here, you see it. And I say, guys, not to make you feel bad, but they're good. We've had the rain consistently. We've had the heat where we needed it. So, yeah, it's been wet without being overwhelming. We haven't had any of the floods or anything like that. But folks know this is a hidden little gem. This is a fun last year was a Wednesday show. This year they're going to a Friday show. They're bringing in some premier classes. It's going to be interesting to see how the two-wheel drives do there. The Pro Stocks. Do you remember who won the Pro Stocks last year? I think you got third or something like that. You were up in the mix of it. Who won the Pro Stock? It was probably Cody Yarrick, if I were to guess.
Cody's always good. Cody's always there, and I was wanting Kyle Pedley to come down this year. He got a hard running tractor. He's going to be there. We got Steve Bailey's got the rut cutter. He's really running tough this year too. I see, Pedley and Bailey and Cody, and they got Jimmy Brackett won last weekend. I mean, great to see him pick up. And you've got the Wegger boys that you're going to have to go do some battle with this year, taking the world by storm in the Outlaw Pro Stock class. So they'll get their first look at the Mercer, Missouri track. It's good dirt for a track. We're not getting up into that loose black northern Iowa stuff. It's kind of that yellow type clay that we see around here. I feel that it's fair. We always have really fair dirt around here. It can take a beating a little bit. So it's going to be a great time. What are you looking forward to most about it? Or is this something where you're looking forward to when it's over and you can breathe again a little bit? No, I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a great time, and we're really looking forward to it. I wish we could have our tractor there and have it running, of course, but we're not going to be able to make it. Doesn't look like nothing's came in yet, so we're still waiting. But I'm waiting for that day where I can fire Gangrene back up again and hit the track. But it's going to be a little bit later down the line, looks like. But another thing that we're excited about is moving it to a Friday night. See, now we got a lot of these classes that are going to have a Friday night, a Saturday night, and a Sunday night pull. They can come and make a weekend of it and really rack up some points. We get these good running tractors out there, and they can win on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday and go home gaining, 60 points. So we think that's going to be a plus too. So we got the Friday night, plus we got a 3-day weekend. We think that's going to be great.
Yeah, this is a unique sweep. The Outlaws going on back-to-back 4-day sweeps, but this one we kick it all the way into Sunday. So Friday night, we're going to run a split show. Actually, Thursday's got a single show. The Outlaws are going to kick off their sweep this week, Thursday, up in Scribner, Nebraska. I'll be up there on the microphone for that one. Then we go to the dual show where instead of me being in Mercer this year, Ron Stone, the voice of the Outlaws, is going to take Mercer on Friday night, where we're also going to be up in Gibbon, Nebraska, after Mercer, talking about that 3 or 4 day run they can go on. McLouth, Kansas. Hey, Logan, we know someone from that area. You're going to be in McLouth, right?
Yep, we'll be there.
And then, also on Saturday, Mobile, Iowa. So we'll see some of those classes going each of those two places. And then rounding out things down in Mound City, Kansas on a Sunday. Where are the Pro Stocks, Gary, on Saturday? Are the Pro Stocks in McLouth? Yeah, they're going to be in McLouth. So they're going to go to Mercer, McLouth. And then Mound City at Kansas. So your group will kick off kind of a trifecta right there, right in your home pull. So it'll be interesting to see how things shake out right now in the standings with your class, with the Outlaws. Let's take a look at it really quick just to let folks know kind of where they're at.
Yeah,
so
just
Cody did jump into the number 1 spot.
We got 3 tractors within 2 points sitting right at the top of the
Lacey and Caden Wager, who have been kind of the X factors, the bullets to dodge all season, are tied for number 2 with 171 points. Cody Yarick sitting number 1 with 172. Cody, over the past 2 years, has made his hard charge on the second half of the season. He's going to have that advantage of he pulled at Mercer last year. The Wegers have never been there before. Is that going to start paying off for him a little bit? And then just about the time you get your tractor back, I could see you going up there and snatching a win and playing spoiler for some of those guys up there at the top. So it's going to shake out really interesting. And we're hitting that point in the year where if you're not watching, Mercer, Missouri would be a really good jumping off point to start dialing in. This is kind of that. It'd be like if it was baseball season and it's mid-September. You're getting an idea who those playoff teams are going to be. And this is the pull where we're going to start getting that idea. So that'll be fun.
This weekend could really tell a story. If you get somebody to break out, you know what's going to happen. But those 2 international tractors from Oklahoma are amazing tractors, beautiful tractors. Great to have some great-looking international tractors in there. They look really good and they run hard. I've been watching them, it's just killing me sitting at home and watching these polls. And I keep scrolling down trying to see who's winning. Oh, man. Like Cody did a great job. Then Kyle Pedley. And then we got Bailey, and I keep cheering for him. You ever got Jimmy Brackett won last week? And I'm thinking, I kind of lean toward Jimmy Brackett. He's kind of a more my age type of guy. And I kind of lean toward him a little bit. I'd pull for those older guys.
It was really good to see the Hillbilly Express back in the winner's circle. I had never met him before. I interviewed him in the winner's circle at Wayne. That was a very rewarding experience. That's a legendary tractor. Let's talk about your class. I'll ask you one last question about it. Who's someone that you would say, Cody Yarick, he's been dominant over the past 2 years. You've got a couple of points championships. Your boys have a couple of points championships. Everyone knows that the Wegers are the ones to look out for this year. Who's someone in your class that to be like an X factor? Who's someone that's maybe not always number 1 in points, but you personally know that they drive well enough or their vehicle's tuned good enough that you need to be on red alert anytime they show up? Right.
That class is so awesome, though. I can start naming the tractors that's in that class. And when you go there, I tell you what, it's tough. Whenever you're in the lead and you start watching these tractors come down the track at you, you cannot sit back in your recliner and think that any one of these tractors can't take you out, because they can. I know some of my favorites, I have a tendency to lean toward green. I don't know why. I take medicine for it and everything, but I keep leaning toward green ones all the time. And Steve Bailey, Rut Cutter, I love him. And you got Kyle Pedley with
Kyle Pedley's a force. If Kyle would run the outlaw season front to back, he loves to hit those big ones at Rock Valley and whatnot. If he would run the season front to back, I believe he'd walk away with some hardware. He's a hard runner out there.
He's got such a great family, and he's got lots going on back home. I got him on Facebook, and he'll be at some event, with his kids and family, somewhere where there's an outlaw pull going on. And that's so awesome, really, because I used to do it. I coached Little League Baseball for 11 years, and that took me out of pulling for a while whenever that was going on. And so I missed a lot of polls during that. But I was spending time raising my kids. I had 3 boys that played baseball and a lot of my neighbors. And I still spend time with these neighbor boys that we coached baseball with for those 11 years. And it's such a special time. I wouldn't have missed that for nothing. So I really think it's great that Kyle would spend time for his family, and he's got a hard running tractor.
Yep. Yeah, there's a lot of good ones in that class. That's some of the biggest horsepower that you're going to see in one of the more remote areas. But I think we really hit the nail on the head. If you're deciding it's time to start paying attention to the narrative of the season, I would start with Mercer, Missouri. If you're a fan and you're saying, okay, who's going to be who when the smoke clears, I think you're going to start seeing that story develop. And I would put your eyes on Mercer. So I'm telling the fans out there, if you're in northern Missouri, southern Iowa, make your way out to the Lyons County Fairgrounds, to the Lyons County Park there in Mercer, Missouri. It's a hidden little gem, and it's going to start telling us what's going to happen for the back half of the season. Super modified two-wheel drive trucks, limited pro stock diesel trucks, not limited pro stock tractors, limited pro stock diesel trucks, the 3.0 trucks, pro stock four-wheel drives, pro stock tractors, and pro stock semis. Show starts at 7 o'clock. Fans can get in the gates at 5.
6 o'clock. Yeah, gates open
6
at
o'clock.
6. Yep.
How what's this going to cost a person? What are our gate fees out here?
Let's see. I didn't see what it was going to cost.
I think I glimpsed
$15.
somewhere. Yeah, $15. That's dirt cheap in the pulling world and motorsports business these days. So come on out. It's going to be a phenomenal time. I had just a great time there last year. If you can't be there, if you're from I don't know, Oregon or something, and you decide I'm not going to drive 21 hours to a pull, watch it on fullpull.live. Kinsey, you just shake your head yes or no. Kinsey, are you going to be in Mercer? Okay, you're going to be in Gibbon with me. Okay, cool. So they'll have the amazing Miss Kaya producing things for them there. Who do you need to thank, Gary?
Well, I wanted the Mercer Homecoming. They've done a lot of work to put this together. They not only did they just have a great weekend planned. We had a parade. We had cornhole contests. We had baby contests. We had a car show, a tractor show. We had all kinds of things go on this last weekend, and they've done a lot of work to put this together to have this track pull this weekend. We got Whole Organics, a huge sponsor. We got a Myers Concrete is a huge sponsor, and without those sponsors, we couldn't put this big event together. And it's just going to be a great time, and we're really looking forward to it. We'd like to have a big crowd come and support this. And if it does, we can keep having this here, and that's what we're looking for is support and keep having this great show right here in Mercer, Missouri.
I will advocate for this one as long and hard as I can. It's sometimes you get on here and it's the right thing to say, hey, go to a pull. This is one where I believe it might go to this pull, guys. This one will surprise you. You will be coming back year after year. I'd be going if the schedules weren't conflicting, but you got to go where you got to go, and they're all great outlaw pulls. Gary Porter, in the pro stock class right there out of Mercer, Missouri. Thank you for joining us tonight. Love what you're doing, taking that pull to the next level. Best of luck, and fingers crossed we see the gangrene out before we tie a bow on the season.
Well, we're going to miss you. We're glad that Ron's going to be here doing the announcement, but we're going to miss you. Hope you have a good time where you're at, and we're looking forward to this weekend.
Yep, it's going to be an excellent pull. I have no doubt about it. I'll go back and watch it, and you can do the same, folks. Fullpull.live. That's what we always do. Go home and watch the pulls you can't go to. I'm halfway through some of them. I'm almost caught up on the outlaw season. Can't be there, fullpull.live. But if you're within driving distance, this is one worth driving to. Thanks for joining us, Gary.
And we're going to have the big screen here this year, too.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yep. We had it there last year.
Yep.
It was one of those we were holding our breath because it was not cooperating with us until right at showtime. But
the fans love that big screen TV and seeing replays.
It makes a huge difference. It elevates the show. It's a cool thing that they're working with right now. Yep. Gary Porter, promoter and driver, Mercer, Missouri, at the pull there at the Mercer Homecoming.
What a guest to have on, and what an event coming up there in Mercer, Missouri. That sounds like something you're not going to want to miss there.
Yeah, that's a fun one. It's kind of a low pressure pull, or at least it was last year. But it's going to be a big time one. And I'm a firm believer in what Gary and I were talking about. And I want to encourage fans to look at that. You're going to start seeing the narrative of the season. These outlaw points get so heavy and they shift so quickly because we'll run our guys, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, or Thursday, Saturday. And just the second you check the app and you think you know who's leading something, you check back 3 days later and they're sitting in 5th place. You're going to see a lot of that this weekend. Logan, I appreciate you having me on. Who's your next guest?
Well, if you got a minute, it's going to be you, and we're going to kick around some McLouth and Mound City.
Yeah, we can talk about that.
Just for a couple more minutes to round the show out. We don't have to take her all the way to 9 o'clock. But
yeah, there's no problem with that. McLouth, Kansas, the McLouth threshing bee. Mackenzie, do you have a picture of a steam engine, like a traction engine, like in your back room back there? I wish you did. There are like 2 forms of agriculture that I love, and that is like vintage steam engine, like threshing. This is like what allures me. It's either this or like professional level, like pulling action. So like here are my toys here. We either go one end of the spectrum or the other, and McLeod's got them both. I am really jealous. How far away is that from home for you?
That's about an hour 15 from us. So
have you attended this pull your whole life?
We took a little bit of a hiatus there for a little bit, just whenever I was going up through the ranks with garden tractors and stuff. But within the past 2-3 years, we've jumped back into it. We've had some good luck here we swept a weekend there in the MOG class a few years back, and just haven't had time to get back out there with running the national stuff. But this year we will be there pulling.
I think, my outlaw history is getting better, but it's not as good as I want it to be yet. If this is not the first time the Outlaws have pulled there, it's the first time in a long time. And I am going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to say this is actually probably the first time that the Outlaws have pulled at McLouth. It's kind of bounced around and been in a couple of different hands.
Yep.
This is one that we're excited. Kansas is a territory that we feel very comfortable in. Super modified 2-wheel drive trucks, diesel 3.0 trucks. So just like Gary was saying, they're going down from Mercer. Limited pro stocks, the 4.1s, and modifieds. Mini rod tractors. Our mini rods, not your mini rod. You have like big boy mini rod.
We also have little boy mini rods too,
Okay. Tell us about that class, because that's going to be the first time the Outlaws are debuting them on kind of a limited basis.
That class is definitely an up and growing class here in the Midwest. There's a lot of guys that maybe don't have the time nor money to run the full national circuit, and this class provides an in for just a little bit lower of a level of competition. But from the fans' perspective, there's not much of a difference.
671 Chargers on the top of them.
They can run a 671 Charger or an 871 Charger. There's a couple rules that incorporate you can run a 4-cylinder diesel. So it's truly a class that there's even more. Let me put it this way. It's less cookie cutter than some of the Grand National stuff, to be honest. So that's a class that I think will really start to take off once they see what this class has to offer. And I've been talking to some fellow competitors in that class, and a lot of guys are really excited. We've been trying to get mini rods to this event for years, and this year will truly be something pretty cool to have minis here at McLouth. And it's going to be a great track. They always do a phenomenal job up there. So
yeah, I've not been there, but this is one I'd like to go on. Those mini rods, the limited mini rods, I believe is what they're called. And I should know this because I have a rule book and I've read it, but I forgot. Are they small blocks, big blocks? Yep. What are we playing with there?
Small blocks with superchargers. You can run an LS with a supercharger, or you can run a naturally aspirated big block.
Okay, there's the difference.
Yep, there's the difference with that. So a whole bunch of different engine combinations, and the way the sled operators set their sleds up, you're going almost as fast as you would be going in a Grand National mini rod. So for the fan, it is just because it's a limited class, it's not a limited show.
No, absolutely. And that we see that a lot, with a savvy sled operator. You can go out there, and we've got this new competition with the Outlaws called the Wiffles winning distance, or the Wiffles leading distance, because any vehicle in any class could be the furthest one to pull. It's not like a sled operator is just going to set the sled and, okay, the unlimiteds are going to pull at 400 feet, and, the light limited pros are going to pull at 190 feet, So, yeah, if you've got a savvy sled operator, the equipment on the track is still going to put on a great show no matter what. I think you're right. I think to the casual fan, they're not going to look at that and be like, oh, well, that's not Grant Theobald, or that's not Adam Kester. They're going to look at it and be like, oh, dang, a mini rod. That's really cool. So, we're excited about that. So we've also got pro stock 4-wheel drive trucks there, pro stock tractors, pro stock semis. So you're taking a lot of what was in Mercer, taking it right down to McLouth at the threshing bee. What else? I mean, do they have a big, threshing and steam show on the grounds as well?
They do. And I need to double check some of the dates on that. Some years they overlap, some years they don't. But if you get time, get there a little bit earlier and walk around. They're always showing off. They have a great plethora of steam engines, partner up with a good group of guys, and they'll show you the ins and outs of how these steam machines work. So, and it's always cool to see right before they drop the first hook on the big vehicles, they'll always pull the lowest horsepower vehicle, they call it. And it's that steam engine you see there in the center of the poster. They'll hook that thing to the sled and they'll drag that sled all the way. And that's
go ahead, Logan.
That's something pretty cool to see, because it's blowing smoke and sparks and just chugging its way down through there. So it's really cool.
This is actually a great talking point. So if we're talking pulling, and you're a budding pulling fan, or you kind of understand pulling, or you've saw it and it looks cool, but you want to know more, the steam engine being hooked to the sled is the greatest example of why we start every class with a weight number. 10,000 pound pro stocks, 8,500 limited pro. Weight is I will die on this hill. Weight is a bigger advantage than horsepower. The biggest steam engine ever mass produced was a 110 horsepower case. Now there's going to be some people out there saying, well, they made a 150 case. The 150 was a prototype. It never became available. So just think 110 horsepower. That's like half what's in a Toyota Camry. I mean, that's nothing. But those things are going to weigh, 16, 18 tons?
Yeah.
You couldn't stop it. There's not a sled out there. So a traction engine, one of these steam engines that has a fraction. What's your mini? You got a Grand National mini rod, 3,000 horsepower, right? And so this 110 case, and the one they're going to hook is probably going to be a 40 case or a 60 case. It's going to be even much smaller. It's something that has a microscopic amount. No modern pulling sled could stop it, just because weight. It proves that weight and torque, on that steam power is the ultimate advantage. And so if you were ever wondering, in our sport, that's why we start all our classes right there. Before you ever concern yourselves with turbo size or pump size or whatever, weight is your number one. And so the fact that they do that is really, really neat, because it'll show you, well, here's only 40 horsepower, but bye-bye sled, you can't stop it when it weighs, 9 times what anything else out here weighs. So that would be
more than the
really
sled
cool
that it's dragging.
Yeah, literally. No, absolutely. So just even the physics right there are, which one's gonna win. So McLouth is gonna be a neat deal. We're very excited to be going out there. So you're pulling in McLouth, correct?
Yep, we'll be in McLouth. And then I've got to go figure out after this is if we're pulling in Mound City or if I'm hanging out with you guys on the production side.
So either would be very, very cool. And I am pulling for you either way. I'm not even going to tell you which way I'm leaning for, because in order to get you to do what I want you to do would be you wouldn't get to do what you want to do. So either way is going to be very cool. Let's talk about Mound City, Kansas. Now, one thing you can't see her, she's in the back room. I bet Mackenzie has called me 7 times, 8 times, and talked about how much that's her favorite pull of the year. So Mackenzie loves Mound City, Kansas. And like she can't, it's so unique. It's a Sunday, which like we both think is totally awesome. The venue, have you been there before?
I have. It's
in like a rodeo. Explain this thing to people. It doesn't get more unique. And if you see Kenzie, be sure to give her a high five because she's going to be on top of the world. It is her favorite pull, and with good reason. This thing is super unique.
I have a picture around here somewhere, but it's in a rodeo arena, and it's
wild.
It's something else. They line the bleachers all the way around this, and it's almost creates like this atmosphere. And the pullers come in, they come across the track, and then it's almost like you're taking off on an airplane. You're heading down this narrow runway strip, heading towards a little gate at the other end, and you better hit that gate square.
It gives me a feel a little bit of like a short track, like a Bristol or a Martinsville, because since it's a rodeo arena, they'll sit totally encircled. Yeah, I mean they will create take a second and break this down, folks. So they go caddy corner. The fans, I have a phenomenal time. I mean, they pack the house in here, and the fans are energetic and up and moving, which blows me away because it's on a Sunday night.
Yeah.
And throw that picture up again there one more time. And you have to be a driver, because if you see right here on the bottom middle of the picture, that's a gate that they would close when they were having their rodeo events. If you're out of bounds, you're touching metal, and you would full pull out into a true, we talk about a runoff area. I mean, you're almost out into the production area. They come in on the bottom right-hand side is where they come in. They loop around, they parade them around all the way back to the top side of the picture. And if you like unique places, if you're one of those people who like Lambeau Field or Wrigley Field or Bristol Motor Speedway, this is your kind of venue because it's unique, but the pulling is really, really good and the fans have a great time there.
Yeah. It always seems to be a good track down there. And the crowd, like you mentioned, is unmatched, the amount of energy. And this pull's been going on for longer than I've been alive, much longer than I've been alive. And I think that it's another one of those gems of a pull. It's hidden. No one really thinks about it until you're actually there and you get to experience it. So that just a couple little events close to me that it's definitely a cool atmosphere.
Yeah, they've got the limited pro stock tractors, pro stock four-wheel drive trucks, and the pro stock tractors, which is a pretty big horsepower bull to be putting in that arena where they've got to guide it out that gate right there. They've got a professional DJ who works with the announcer and plays like hype music for each vehicle that comes out there. The Crow's Nest, the announcer's stand, it's at the top of like almost looks like where you would like auction off cattle. And so you announce with the pullers coming straight to you. You get a down the track vantage point. It's unique. They feed the pullers ahead of time. That's something else that I really like. It's one of those where they have a puller provided meal. They have ice cream. Kinsey, like in all seriousness, this is one. Yeah, they have ice cream there. They have a gun raffle there. So there's neat stuff there. And with the exception of me almost flipping over my motorhome trying to get into this spot last year, it really is excellent. The only negative experience last year was my poor driving skills. It's a little tricky if you don't know where to get your haulers, and I did not know where I was going, and it about didn't get good. But
there is a pretty steep drop off and a really kind of narrow driveway. But
the driveways, if you know where you're supposed to go, you're golden. If you're shooting from the hip, get out and walk it ahead of time is all I can say to that. MSTPA pulled with us last year too. They put on a
They'll be
really
there
nice
again this
show.
year.
Do you have a mod that pulls in their class too?
So that's what we're working on right now is a twin engine mod.
Okay, tell me about that one.
That just running some rules that we're hoping that the Outlaws are going to adapt sometime soon is a twin Chevy rule. And that's something that's been real big with the MSTPA around local here in Missouri and Kansas, running 2 Chevys against 1 Hemi against 1 industrial motor.
Oh,
And-
you got blowers on them?
Yep. So you're
What
just
size
limited
blowers?
to 2 575 cubic inch big block Chevys with 871 superchargers, and it's truly very competitive. It will hang right in there with the Hemis and all that. And there's some cool engine combinations. Like there's a guy out here that's got a DT 466 with a turbo on it, and that tractor just kicks butt.
You know, now are you talking about the Plowboy Express?
I am.
Now, do you know the story behind that? Yeah, now you might be just a freckle young for this one. This one's kind of in my glory days. But do you
I know Brent Green, I believe, had some stuff to do with that, but I'm not. Brent Long, that's what it was.
Brent Long, that is the motor in the Plowboy Express is the original. So Brent Long went on to be an engine builder for a lot of people. As a matter of fact, Donald Nelson's methanol tractor that he's got has a Brent Long motor on it. Built several of them for people out there. The Plowboy Express has the original Brent Long motor in it. When we used to do the pulling through the past, and I had a couple of pictures, it was an old 686, had flames on it, and it was a wild machine, light super stock. But the motor out of that tractor is sitting on the Plowboy Express, and I don't think it's a 466. I don't think it's that big. I think
you don't believe it's a 466.
No,
I'll have to ask Danny when we see him.
Yeah, it's smaller than that, and I don't know. Does it just have a single charger, or is it a multi-stage charger?
I believe it's just got a single charger on it, and
it's a freaking bullet though.
I know he's won here at Mound City a couple times, so that tractor is always a force to be reckoned with. Awesome tractor. Yeah, that is the original Brent Long machine motor that's sitting on that Plowboy Express. So you're running twin 871 big block Chevys. That is an intriguing concept. So that's sweet pain -1. Yep, sweet
pain. Are you running them? Are you running them left, right, or are you running them front, back?
We'll have them side to side, just like you'd see on the River Rat.
Yep. Okay. So both facing forward.
Both facing forward out front.
How long have you been running this one?
This one, we've had the chassis for probably 6 or 7 years, and just getting around the hanging motors on this chassis.
Okay.
Chassis was a new build. It came out of Ohio, brand new modern machine chassis, and the guy never really ran it. I think he ran 10 some passes on it and sold it. So, and it's just been sitting in a shipping container down here. It's been waiting for motors. So this week we're hopefully going to get some motors hung on it and make an inaugural pass with it. So we'll have some pretty cool stuff coming out of the stable.
That thing's going to be hot. I bet once you get your fuel set where you want it, and once I feel like that thing's probably got potential to be 3,500, 4,000 horsepower, don't you think?
Yeah, we're shooting to be in the range about 1,800 a motor, plus or minus a little bit, 1,500 a motor. So you're looking at 3,000 horsepower there versus 3,000 horses in a 1471 Hemi.
Yeah, that's what I say. You're going to be
horses.
I was sitting here doing the math in my head. You're going to be a freckle hot, like because 3,000 is kind of your if you're looking to get into that outlaw light limited mod class, 3,000 is kind of the guiding hand that you look at. And I would think you would have potential to be 35 to 4 with that one. Now, depending on what it actually does and dynos and everything, but you're presenting a unique claim here. I like the idea. it's going to be fun for the Outlaws to look at it this weekend,
Yeah.
and kind of for us to start saying, okay,
that would be something
let's think
interesting
here.
because we can run at 5,900 pounds 2 Chevys, at 6,100 pounds 1 Chevy or 1 Hemi, and then at like 6,300 pounds you can run some naturally aspirated combination. Like you can run 3 naturally aspirated small blocks or something at. So,
Who's the guy with MSTPA that's got the there's 2 of them. I kind of get confused. It's like a Farmall M or a Farmall H sheet metal on it, and he's got front to back twins on it. I'm assuming those are twin Chevys on it then?
Bud Digger.
Yes.
I think is the tractor you're thinking of.
Yeah.
Those are 2 crank to crank Chevys.
Yeah.
And
that was pretty hot. It does well with them, doesn't it?
Yeah. That tractor's been around a very long time, and he does really well with it. So it'll be interesting. We're looking to get this combination into the Outlaws, and it'll take a little bit. We'll work with these guys on it because it might be, we might be a little hot, so we'll back the blower overdrive off a little bit.
Okay.
And run it some more, because this would be something to make the class a little bit less cookie cutter. Not saying that it already is, because you see a whole bunch of turbines and all. I would say
that's I would categorize that as one of the least cookie cutter. But what it would do, it would give you another V8 option. Yeah. Right now, if anything, the class ironically
one Hemi
is V8 light. Yeah. Now you can run your twin big block Chevys, but you can run a single big block Chevy.
Correct.
On turbocharger. You can't run twin big block Chevys on turbocharger. You can run twin LS Chevys on turbos, but this would give us a little bit more of the noise, boys. It's intriguing. It's intriguing. It's going to be, you're picking a nice spot to launch it here where the Outlaws are going to be looking at it. What other classes are pulling with MSTPA at Mound City?
MSTPA, they are looking at let's see here. Come on, where'd it go? I will have to. There's 3 Missouri states and 3 3 Outlaws.
Last year they had
light mods. I believe they're having a class of just a pro stock 4x4.
Okay. Like a pro street or like whatever they would call it. And then last year they had their naturally aspirated 2-wheelers too, I think. Because I remember David James brought his pit bull there. Unless
they're substituting in. Yeah, and they might always substitute in a limited pro or just an ag class.
Yeah. So either way, it's an awesome show. Kenzie, I can see her in the back room. Just be patient. It's coming. It's coming. We'll get you there. Seriously, she's called me like 2, 3, 10 times talking about how much she can't wait to be down there with good reason. It's awesome. So yeah.
Yep.
Depending on what your tractor does will determine whether or not I'm there. So, Yeah, we'll find out one way or another. Logan, awesome. Kenzie, everybody else, thanks for having me on tonight.
It was kind of neat to
get back on here and re-see the group. Kenzie, I thought you were going to put your sunglasses on. That would have been, I thought you were just, there she goes.
There she goes.
Oh, I almost put her on stage while she had them on. But yeah, I'm going to get off of here and I'm going to let you take it on home. But best of luck with everything. And I'll be talking to you really soon.
Awesome. Thank you, Michael.
Mm-hmm. See you guys.
Have a good rest of your night.
Yep.
There you go, folks. Michael Idle, one of the great announcers of our time, up and coming and truly no shortage of energy. So great event going on this weekend down in Mound City. Great events all over the country, looking at Rockwell, Mercer, McLeod. So no shortage of entertainment all throughout the United States. So thank you all for sticking around, hanging out. It was a great show. And we will see you next week, Monday, 7:30. Let's Grow Poland.
Today. Let's talk about today.
Grand national state level, you have to run Mercer. It's wholesale.
Is 9,000.
The only mistake I made, I didn't put her rate in the registration.
Just this ever evolving story.